All right. Hello, everyone. I'm actually recording this a little bit early because I'm very, very excited. So I have made a discovery with dynamic tags and generate blocks plus shortcodes, combining the power of both. So I'm Madison. I'm a web developer, designer, been doing this for a long, long time. And I just like to share things that I come across that I might think would be handy or just plain neat to other people in the business. And today is a day is is the day that I'm going to share something new. So what I was doing was I was working on a project where I had to, and I'm not going to do this specifically in this video. I'm going to keep it very short just to show you the possibilities. I needed a short code because I wanted to use the query block loop in GenerateBlocks Pro to keep things easy because that's the way it makes it. But I needed to tap into a little PHP because I wanted to pull a preview image that WordPress generates from PDFs when you upload a PDF to the media library, just to try to keep from having to do that second step of uploading an image to use as the preview image because WordPress generates one for you. Okay. So started writing my short code and things were going okay, except that I ran into this problem that has popped up again and again, in that within the short code, it's nearly impossible to get, if you're using a query loop on a page to pull in content from another custom post type, and you try to use get the ID or try to pull the post ID within your shortcode, it's going to get the ID of the page you're on, inevitably, always, and not the one within the loop. So it got me thinking. I wondered if you could get around this using dynamic tags from GenerateBlocks and use that to feed in the post ID, the current post ID of the loop within a parameter for a shortcode. So all that is talking about it doesn't help. So let's see. It's not going to be a template, although, okay, first of all, we're going to write a little shortcode really quickly. And this is my child theme. You can include this in a snippets plugin or whatever you like. We're just going to, I have AI turned on, which is actually kind of cool, but we're just going to, oh no, this is GenerateBlocks. Never mind. We're going to come back to that. Let's go to shortcodes. Yeah, okay. So this is how I organize things in my child theme. So you know what? I'm just going to, for the sake of time, we're going to copy this. I'm going to modify it. Output post ID within GB query block loop. And let's see what we're going to call it. Yeah, AI is going to try to guess what I'm doing. And it does a pretty good job, but yeah, sure. We'll call it that. Post ID, and it was trying to suggest what I should call it or rename it for me. And I didn't use it. Okay, that's fine. Arguments, do I want? I do need arguments. No, not those, not for query loop. We're going to use something different. So let's just do this. Return, get the ID. Okay, pretty straightforward. And we do need to add that bit here. So this is in the documentation for GenerateBlocks. And I want to come here and drop that in. And we're going to do core. Is it just straight up shortcode? I think that's right. Where was I looking at that? I was looking at that. Okay, we're gonna, if it doesn't work, then we'll go back to it. Okay, so let's save that. and. Okay, so our shortcode should be ready to roll. So let's go real quickly just to let's go to let's check it out in an element first. Go share single template. Let's just drop it in this loop and we'll see what it does. Okay, so I want media, not there. Yeah, let's do it there. Okay, so up top here, I'm going to put in a shortcode and we're just going to do that. And we're going to see what happens. Wait, no. I'm sorry. Wrong template. Let's cut that, save, because we want it in a loop, not in the single view. Yeah, because that's what I'm struggling with here. So archive template, I think that's right. So let's try that one. And I'm pretty sure this is not what we're after. Because I could essentially do the same with, is it loop item key ID, loop item key ID? I think that's right. So let's edit this and let's just manually type in loop item key ID. I think that's right. Okay. Let's jump out here and take a look. Let's go to our ghost gear. 598. Ah, so it's even doing it here. Okay. Huh. Okay. For some reason, it only gets the first one. What is the ID of the page? ID of the page. Let's find body tag. Oh, it's an archive. Okay. So it's okay. This is a natural archive page. Okay. So that shortcode is going to render the same ID as the first entry. It's stuck for some reason. It won't give us the thing we're looking for. But this is rendering it fine, the dynamic tag, because it's pulling from the loop item. So what if we wanted to pass the loop item ID into our shortcode? So that is what I had to do, because I needed that ID to grab my PDF preview. And I won't go into all of why it was necessary, but it had to do with attachment ID and all that kind of stuff. So this is a problem. And I can even say global, well, this is another way to do it. Yeah, global post. And watch this. It's gonna, my gosh, I can't type today. Okay. I mean, I really can't type. Come on, suggest it. Yep, that's what I want. And it should give me the same results. Yeah, 598. Okay. So what I want to do is give my shortcode a parameter. Let's say loop item ID. And we're going to item key ID. Oh, yeah, we need that. Okay. Okay, and it's suggesting to me what I should do, and I'm going to say, yes, that is what I want to do. This Copilot thing is freaking bizarre. Yeah. So, yeah. So we're passing attributes. Now, this is a global thing for, I say global, it's a standard mechanism, feature, whatever, for shortcodes, we're going to pass it a bunch of attributes, or in this case, just one, but you can pass several because it loads them into an array called ats. And you can call it whatever you want. And then we're going to fetch it from this. We're assigning it to this variable and then returning it. We're adding in an extra step sort of that we don't have to do. We can just say return ats loop item ID, and we're grabbing the value out of that array. But whatever. This is, I tend to do it this way too. It's a little more verbose, but I like the clarity of it. So yeah, we're going to load that up, and now I'm going to copy this shortcode because it already has my my argument in it, and hopefully it's going to pull that from it for me and feed it into the shortcode. So now if I go back, it's blank. And why is that? Okay, so I have not actually tested this, and it may not work the way I expected. But we're going to use the method that I used if it doesn't work, and I'm not going to fight with it too much. So I want to make sure, yeah, data type core shortcode. Okay. Core shortcode. So that's what this was for. Dynamic tags allowed blocks. So maybe in my functions file, am I including that? Where's generate blow? There it is. Yeah, so I am. Okay. Well, maybe that is not working as I expected because allow dynamic tags and other blocks. Okay, then let's try this. Because I had to do this in some cases. Ooh, no space. Or you know what? I may have had to do this, period, to get it to show. Not place. Oh my gosh. False. Okay. So let's go back. Still nothing. Okay. So I'm going to abandon what I just said about this. I don't know why that is not working. So I'm just going to comment it out because I want to make sure that what I'm trying is working the way I think it should. So what I found out I could do was I could include this value as a data attribute, or rather I could wrap the shortcode block in a GenerateBlocks container. Now in this case, I should be able to use the container that it's already in, but in what I was doing, I just made a container around the shortcode container. And because the shortcode is going to output something, and I could style what was in that shortcode with the container block within GenerateBlocks. So if that doesn't sound complicated, so let's go down here, and I can name it whatever I want. Data loop ID. Okay. So as soon as I did that, it made it available there too. Now that's what happened to me before. If it doesn't happen here, then I'm just gonna abandon all hope. It worked. It worked just as I thought it would. Okay, or just as it did before, not necessarily. I never know what to think. I don't get too, trying to get too ahead of myself anymore. So yeah, there's something about it rendering in the container element that also helps it render within the shortcode. So maybe it's because it has to render before it gets to the shortcode. There's a such thing as parse order. So like, does the shortcode render before the dynamic tag renders, or does the dynamic tag render before the shortcode renders? You know, that is a consideration. So I'm wondering if that is the case. So again, let's take a look at that shortcode, and let's just, I'm going to delete that and just close that out, because that makes more sense, that it we're having to render that shortcode value in the container before it gets to the shortcode. So we're firing that shortcode. It has a parameter or an argument that we fill with a dynamic tag, a GenerateBlocks dynamic tag that contains the ID of the current loop item. So it makes that more accurate. So right now we're just returning that ID, but there are things you may need it for. If, for example, you're trying to grab a custom field that needs that post ID or a featured image or something like that, but GenerateBlocks does that stuff for you. So it's kind of edge case scenarios where, like what I was trying to do, and grab the preview image from a PDF within that post loop. And I had to do a little more PHP acrobatics to make that work. But I needed that current loop ID, and I couldn't get it with get the ID or the global post ID. But this worked, and it was so amazing. So I hope this helps, and I'll try to go more into maybe some use case scenarios for this later. But if for some reason you're writing a shortcode for your GenerateBlocks loop and you need to get the current post ID, here we can do that so you can see better what it is. And we know that this is the current ID because we're using that dynamic tag, and now we're also passing it in through to the shortcode. So any PHP stuff we do in that shortcode, we can reference the proper post ID for the correct item within the loop. And that is good. That is cool. Okay. So that's it. That's it. That's it. I'm going to leave it there. And man, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, all that great YouTube stuff. Let me know if this will come in handy for you. Have you run against this, come up against this before and needed a solution? There's a loud race car. And yeah, let me know what you think. Leave me some comments, guys. Thank you.